My name is Lisa Heron. I'm 34 years old, and until very recently, I truly believed that no matter how loud or messy or unpredictable the rest of life became, my marriage was the one place I could lie down and breathe without bracing myself for impact. I believed it was safe. I believed it was solid. I was wrong in ways I didn't even know how to imagine back then. I never thought I would be telling this story to people I don't know, letting strangers see the cracks in something I once guarded so carefully. But when you're betrayed in silence, when someone decides their own comfort matters more than showing up for you during the worst moment of your life, you're left with two options. You swallow it and slowly disappear, or you open your mouth and speak. I chose to speak. I work as a civil engineer for the State Transportation Department. It's not flashy, no one gasps when I tell them what I do, but it's steady, structured, dependable. It pays about $92,000 a year before overtime, comes with solid benefits, and gives me the kind of security that lets me sleep at night without running numbers in my head. I've always been that person, the reliable one, the woman who plans ahead, who keeps things running, who others lean on when something breaks. I've been strong for as long as I can remember, and maybe that's why I fell for Ethan. We met 6 years ago at a friend's housewarming party. He had that effortless charm that looks natural until you realized it's been practiced. Easy smile, quick wit, stories about his future delivered with absolute certainty, like success was already his and just running a little late. He worked in marketing, bounced between consulting gigs, and earned maybe half of what I did, but he talked about money like it was temporary and beneath him, like greatness was inevitable and just around the corner. I believed every word. We moved in together after 8 months. A year later, we were married. When I look back now, the warning signs are painfully obvious, but at the time I told myself love meant patience, love meant compromise, love meant faith. 3 months after the wedding, Ethan lost his job. He framed it as freedom, said it was a blessing that he finally had the space to find himself before locking into another corporate role that would crush his creativity. I supported him without hesitation, emotionally, financially, completely. That phase was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years. 2 full years of me paying the mortgage on the condo I'd bought before I even met him, covering groceries, insurance, utilities, and trips he insisted were vital for his mental health. Every raise I earned, every bonus that came in, somehow turned into permission for something new. A designer jacket, a luxury watch, renovations to a condo he didn't own. I ignored the tightening feeling in my gut because I loved him, because marriage was supposed to mean teamwork. Then my mom got sick. Cancer doesn't ease you into it. One day she was complaining about back pain. The next, doctors were speaking in lowered voices about aggressive progression and limited options. They said 3 months. She barely made it 6 weeks. 6 weeks from diagnosis to death. I flew out immediately and threw myself into survival mode. Hospital visits, insurance forms, hospice paperwork, funeral arrangements. Nights were the worst. Alone in a cold hotel room, staring at the ceiling, listening to the steady hum of the air conditioner and my own breathing. Every night I called Ethan, sometimes once, sometimes twice. I needed to hear his voice, needed reassurance that I wasn't doing this alone, that someone still saw me, still held me, even from miles away. Most nights it went to voicemail, other times a short text. Busy, with friends, with a client. We'll talk tomorrow. I believed him. He was my husband, the man who had promised to stand beside me when life collapsed. 2 weeks after my mom passed, I was sitting on the edge of that hotel bed in Savannah when my phone lit up with a notification from our shared cloud account. I wasn't digging. I wasn't suspicious. I just saw it. All calls from this contact will be silenced. My name muted. For 2 weeks. The same 2 weeks I had been watching my mother fade away, the same 2 weeks I had been calling him every night, sometimes crying so hard I could barely breathe. My chest tightened, like something had punched straight through me. All those unanswered calls, all those nights I told myself I was being needy, that I shouldn't burden him. He hadn't missed my calls, he had chosen not to hear me. I flew home early. The funeral was done, the house was cleared, the paperwork could wait. I needed to be home, needed his arms around me, needed to finally fall apart somewhere familiar. The condo was silent when I walked in, empty, too quiet after weeks of hospitals and family and grief. I dropped my bag and sank onto the couch, exhaustion finally dragging me down. Then his tablet lit up on the coffee table. A message preview flashed across the screen. "I miss you already. Last night was incredible. Can't wait to take you to Cabo once the divorce is final. You deserve way better than that boring engineer." My hands started shaking. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. The words burned themselves into me. I called Ethan one more time. I watched the tablet as I did. Nothing. No ring, no notification. That's when I checked our shared account settings, the feature we'd set up years ago in case one of us lost a phone. And there it was. My contact muted deliberately exactly 2 weeks ago, the day I flew out after learning my mother was terminal. Not a mistake, not a glitch, a choice. When Ethan walked through the door later, shopping bags hanging, he froze when he saw me. Surprise flickered, followed by guilt, then smoothed away. "You're back early," he said. Not, "I missed you," not, "I'm sorry about your mom," just irritation. He looked different. Fresh haircut, new clothes, new cologne, like he'd been living a separate life. I barely recognized him. "Ethan," I said quietly, "why did you mute my calls?" His face went pale, and before he even answered, I knew. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was the beginning of the end. The silence after my question felt thick and heavy. He stood there, shopping bags dangling from his hand, eyes scanning my face, calculating. Then he laughed, forced and brittle. "My phone's been acting up," he said, annoyed. "Missing notifications, you know how phones are." A lazy lie. I nodded once. He relaxed, confidence creeping back in. He unloaded the bags, proudly holding up a shirt with the tag still on. $200, while my mother's medical bills sat in my suitcase. Then, as if remembering he was supposed to care, he waved a scarf and said, "Your mom would have loved this. Too bad she never got to see it." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. Something inside me simply locked into place. "I'm tired," I said. "I'm going to shower." In the bathroom, I ran the water just to drown out my thoughts. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I looked older. Grief had carved something into my face, but beneath it there was clarity. When I came out, he was on the bed scrolling through his phone like nothing had happened. "Are you hungry?" he asked. "We should probably keep it cheap since you've been spending so much on hotels." The audacity almost made me laugh. "Sure," I said, "whatever you want." We ate takeout in front of the TV. He kept angling his phone away. He left the room twice, and somewhere between his second bathroom trip and his third casual lie, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront him in a dramatic explosion. I wasn't going to beg or collapse. My mother's voice echoed in my memory. "Never make decisions when you're angry. Sleep on it." I wasn't angry. I was focused. When he finally slid into bed, leaving space between us, pretending to scroll, pretending to yawn, then turning off the lamp, I lay there in the dark, wide awake, knowing everything had already changed.